Hello, I'm Jonathan Milam here with a comparison of two very nice vintage trumpets. They're both Buescher instruments. I've got a 225 from 1955 and a model 220 from 1940 or thereabouts. Hard to imagine 75 years old and 60 years old. And if you're wondering just how old 60 years old, that's 5 years older than me. It's amazing it's in this shape. But at any rate, Model 225 and a Model 220. Both of these are probably more of a medium bore, and they both have slightly smaller bells than is popular today. This is probably around 4.5, maybe a little better, probably 4.5, just a tad under. The bell flare on these, and by flare I mean the growth from the crook down to the point where it begins its large flare, are both very comparable to modern instruments. In fact, I've got a New Carroll brass, very, very nice instrument that actually has a tighter bell core to it, using mutes to judge, than these horns. So it's very interesting. Although the outer extreme flare is not quite as large, everything affects everything. But the tone of this trumpet is very beautiful. And in fact, both of them are. And we'll try and give you a comparison. I enjoy doing reviews where I play a trumpet, but when you have two trumpets together and can just in a moment alternate between them, I think it gives a real, just a wonderful opportunity to compare the differences in tone. And they are there. This, of course, is also a thinner wrap. Some call it a pea shooter. I always expected them to have a very sharp, piercing tone, but not so. In fact, the opposite has been my experience, but that's a lot goes into the tone of a trumpet. At any rate, we'll give you just a starter tone, our G. And on the Model 225. Okay, for this early part of the video, I'm going to use a very deep mouthpiece. It's a deep V, about a 25 throat, not too terribly large, so it's a smaller throated trumpet flugel to give us a very nice heavy tone, and then we'll switch it up later. Okay, I'm going to play a little chorus, just a lot of long tones, very pretty melody, in fact a haunting melody to my way of thinking. But again, it'll give you an idea of this horn, what it can do as far as tone production. Was a Model 225, and now the Model 220 on the same chorus. Five-year-old horn, great valve action. In fact, both of these have good valves and much better than average compression for vintage horns. In fact, both of them have good compression. Okay, again, you've got your Model 220 from 1940, and you've got your Model 225 from 1955. Now, I'm going to, and I think that the 1955, the Model 225. I think it has a somewhat brighter sound, just a little bit, maybe a more carrying sound. Now I'm going to switch mouthpieces and go to a mouthpiece that's a much shallower V with a tighter backbore, and we'll play a song with a little more movement to it. It'll again give you an idea of the diversity, and I guess like before, we'll do the Model 225 first of all. I've said before when I played some vintage horns, that's what I think a trumpet should sound like. A very carrying, powerful tone, but not overly strident or overly bright. But that horn really has great projection, and this one I find to be a little darker. Wonder what your opinion would be. Same song with the Model 220. Once again, Model 225 from 1955, and you've got a Model 220 from 1940. Wonderful horns put out by Buescher, and I hope you've enjoyed this comparison today. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.